During his recent rally in Wisconsin, Donald Trump once again reiterated the fact that he definitely wants to be a dictator. But, let's not blow this out of proportion, because he still says he just needs to be dictator for one day. So here he is once again talking about his desire to be dictator for a day. Take a look.
So I have to be careful with this. I said once about a month ago, you only have to vote this one time, and after that, everything will be good. And the fake news said, see, he wants to be a dictator and take over the country. No, that's not what. I said, we got to fix the country, got to make sure, and then the country will be great, and we're going to have, hopefully, some great person, whether it's JD or somebody else. And when the great Sean Hannity asked me a question, and I jokingly said, he said, okay, let's get this on. You don't want to be a dictator, do you? I said, Sean, I only want to be a dictator for one day, and I'm going to close the borders and drill, baby, drill. And after that, I never want to be a dictator, right? So the fake news took that answer, and they said, Sean, I want to be a dictator. Click. Cut. So they said, Sean, I want to be a dictator. And they go, he wants to be a dictator. They cut the rest of these are the worst people. These are the worst. They said he's a threat to democracy. He wants to be a dictator. No, you know the threat to democracy are when you put incompetent people in charge of our country. That's a real threat to democracy.
So, he mentions, I got to be careful with this. I don't want people to take this out of context, but I absolutely want to be a dictator for just a day, just a quick 24-hour period, and I'm going to do these things. Here's the thing. You don't have to be a dictator to do those things. As president of the United States, you do have executive powers. You can issue executive orders. You don't have to be a dictator for that, and I think that's the part that the Trump supporters seem to forget, okay? You don't have to let him have absolute power in order for him to do the things that he wants to do. Like, I want to open up and drill, baby, drill. Well, first of all, drilling is at an all-time high in the United States, and that has no impact at all on energy prices here in this country. Those are set on the global market by countries that are not us. So it's not even going to help, but all you have to do is just say, hey, Department of Interior, open it up, and they'll do it. That's how that works. You don't have to be a dictator for that. You just do it. You want to sign an executive order on immigration? You can do that if you are president. You don't have to be a dictator for it. And that's the part that the MAGA diehards don't seem to understand. There's no need for him to say he wants to be a dictator when he already has the power to do the so-called things he wants to do. The truth is, he wants to be a Vladimir Putin. He wants to be president for life. He wants to have the authority to get rid of the people who criticize him, right? We'll see a lot more Americans suddenly falling out of windows like they do in Russia all the damn time after they speak out about Putin. That's what we will see, because that's what he wants. But we do have a system of checks and balances, right? A little harder for him to do that, especially if Republicans retake the House and retain the Senate. But the fact that he keeps talking about it is what should send shivers down the spines of every single American that actually cares about the rule of law and the Constitution. This isn't normal. This is not something he should want to do. The other part, of course, this dictator for a day. He says day one. Is that going to be the same day where we have that really violent day that he recently teased too? So is he going to be dictator and then we'll have, his purge fantasy where criminals can go out and do whatever and the cops can just shoot them dead in the streets with no trials? I don't know. Maybe it's going to be 2 back-to-back days that are just going to be really bad for the country. Or maybe it's going to be just one day that's the worst day we've ever seen in American history. I don't know. He hasn't connected those plans. But taken separately, and of course even together, this is terrifying. There's nothing short of terrifying here. What we are witnessing coming out of this man's mouth, the plans that he wants to do, the psychotic ideas that he has, It should terrify every single one of us, even if you're one of his supporters. Because it won't be long until he runs out of other people to target, and then he will come after you too. Absolutely. You think you're safe. You think he won't do it. We've seen him do it. You slip up one time, you're right there in the gulags next to the rest of us. But for some reason, his supporters seem to love the idea of a dictator for a day, and I'm sure they'll love it at first, until, of course, he comes for them too.